Hello, everyone. Welcome to the English Chatcast. I'm Ben, and I'm here with my co-host, Anna.
Hi there, I'm Anna, and we're so excited you're here.
Before we dive in, we'd love for you to hit that like button and subscribe to the English Chatcast channel. It really helps us reach more English learners like you.
Exactly, and when you subscribe, you'll never miss our new episodes where we share practical English tips that actually work in real conversations.
So today, we're talking about something that makes a lot of English learners nervous, dating conversations. But we're going beyond the basics.
Right. We're focusing on how to create deeper connections, express your feelings naturally, and keep conversations flowing smoothly on dates.
And Anna, you've got some great insights on this because of your bilingual background.
Exactly. My mom only speaks Spanish, so I grew up switching between languages constantly. It taught me how to express emotions authentically in different languages, which is huge for dating.
That's such a good point. So let's start with conversation starters. Not the typical, what do you do for work, but ones that actually create connection.
Yes. One technique I love is what I call experience questions. Instead of asking about facts, ask about experiences. Like, what's the most spontaneous thing you've done this year?
Oh, that's good. That immediately gets them talking about something exciting. And Ben, you've done some pretty spontaneous things, like your trips to the Philippines?
Exactly right.
And here's a key tip. When someone answers an experience question, don't just say cool or nice. Dig deeper with follow-ups like, how did that make you feel? Or what was going through your mind when that happened?
Yes, and another great starter is what's something you're looking forward to? It's positive, forward-thinking, and gives you insight into their goals and dreams. And another great technique is the childhood curiosity question. Ask something like, what's something you believed as a kid that makes you laugh now? It's fun, lighthearted, and often leads to really adorable stories.
Oh, I love that. It's so disarming and immediately makes both people laugh. Plus, it reveals their sense of humor and how they handle embarrassing moments about themselves. Perfect. Now let's talk about expressing romantic interest. This is where a lot of English learners get stuck because it requires subtle language skills.
Oh, this is so important. In American dating culture, being too direct too early can feel overwhelming, but being too subtle means nothing happens.
Right. It's about finding that sweet spot. So instead of saying, I really like you on the first date, try something like, I'm really enjoying getting to know you, or you have such an interesting perspective on things.
Exactly. Those phrases show interest without being too intense. Another one I love is, I feel really comfortable talking with you. It's a compliment that implies connection.
That's perfect. And here's a body language tip that works with these phrases. Maintain good eye contact when you say them. It shows sincerity.
And here's a subtle way to test the waters. Make gentle future references in your conversation. Like, oh, you'd love this bookstore I know. Or, that sounds like something I'd want to try too. You're planting seeds without being pushy.
That's brilliant. It's like you're creating a shared future experience in their mind without making it feel like pressure. And if they respond positively to these hints, you know they're interested too.
Now let's role play this. Ben, pretend we're on a coffee date and I just told you about my trip to India.
Okay, so instead of just saying, that sounds cool, I might say, wow, I love how adventurous you are. What was the moment that made you realize you wanted to travel more?
Perfect! See how that shows interest in me as a person, not just the story, and it keeps the conversation going deeper.
Exactly. Now let's tackle one of the biggest challenges, handling awkward silences. Anna, what's your strategy?
Great question. First, don't panic. A few seconds of silence is totally normal, but if it stretches, I use what I call environment bridges. comment on something around you.
Like what?
This coffee smells amazing. Do you have a favorite coffee shop? I love the music they're playing here. Are you into this kind of music? It's natural and opens new conversation threads.
That's brilliant. And here's another technique. Call back to something they mentioned earlier. Like, you mentioned you're learning guitar. How's that going? It shows you were really listening. And here's something I learned from dating internationally. Sometimes silence means different things in different cultures. In some cultures, comfortable silence is actually a good sign, showing you're both relaxed together.
So true. And if you're dating someone from your own cultural background, you might naturally be more comfortable with silence. But if you're dating across cultures, it's worth reading the room and maybe using those bridge techniques we mentioned.
This is key. One technique is emotional bridging. When they mention something, connect it to how it made them feel. So if they say, I changed majors twice in college, you could say,
That must have been a confusing time. How did you finally figure out what you really wanted to do?
Perfect. You're acknowledging their emotions and inviting them to share more. This is so much better than just asking, what did you study?
Right. Now, let's discuss expressing your own emotions naturally. Then, what's your approach when you want to share something personal?
I like to use feeling phrases that sound natural. Instead of, I was sad, I might say, I felt pretty lost, or I was going through a rough patch. It's more conversational and opens the door for empathy.
Exactly. And when you share something vulnerable, give them space to respond. Don't immediately change the subject. Let them process and possibly share something similar.
That's so important. Vulnerability really does create deeper connections. Now, before we dive into different date scenarios, let's quickly address some common mistakes we see English learners make in dating conversations. Anna, what's the biggest one you've noticed?
Oh, definitely over-apologizing. I hear learners say sorry for everything. Sorry my English isn't perfect. Sorry if this sounds weird. It undermines your confidence and makes the other person focus on your language instead of your personality.
Exactly. Your accent and language quirks are part of your charm. Instead of apologizing, try phrases like, I'm still learning some expressions, or just keep going with confidence. Most people find accents attractive and interesting.
Another mistake is translating emotional expressions directly from their native language. What sounds romantic in Filipino or Chinese might sound overly intense in English, especially early in dating.
Right, like saying you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen on a first date might work in some cultures, but in American dating culture, it can feel too much too soon. Save the grand romantic gestures for when you know each other better.
That's huge. Now, let's talk about different date scenarios. Coffee dates versus dinner dates require different conversation approaches.
Oh, yes. Coffee dates are more casual, so you can be playful. Okay, important question. Are you a morning person or a night owl? Dinner dates are longer, so you need topics that can develop.
Right, for dinner dates, I love asking about their origin story, like how they ended up in their career or city. It's a story they can tell in depth.
That's perfect. And for activity dates, like hiking or mini golf, you want short, fun exchanges between the activity. Okay, that was either really skill or pure luck. Keeps things light.
And let's talk about virtual dates too, since they're so common now. The conversation dynamics are totally different when you're on video chat. You need to be more animated with your expressions and speak a little louder and clearer.
Great point. And for virtual dates, prepare some show and tell moments. Like, hold on, let me show you this book I mentioned. Or, want to see the view from my window? It adds visual interest and gives you natural conversation starters.
Love that. Now let's address something crucial. Discussing future plans. This can be tricky territory for English learners because the language has to be subtle.
So important. You don't want to sound like you're planning the wedding, but you also want to show genuine interest in seeing them again.
Exactly. So instead of, when can I see you again, try, I'd love to continue this conversation sometime. Or reference something specific. You mentioned that new restaurant. We should check it out.
Perfect. And here's a cultural tip from my experience. In American dating, being genuinely interested is attractive, but being desperate is not. The language should feel natural, not forced.
That's such a good point. And finally, let's quickly cover text and phone communication. Anna, what's your biggest tip here?
Hey, I had such a great time tonight. Hope you got home safely. Simple and genuine beats elaborate every time.
And what about timing with texts? Anna, what's your advice for English learners who might not understand the unspoken rules about response times?
This is so important. Don't stress about waiting exactly X hours to reply. If you see the message and have something nice to say, just respond naturally. But also don't expect immediate responses. People are busy.
And here's a cultural tip. American texting tends to be pretty casual, even in dating. You don't need to write paragraphs. A simple, hope your presentation went well today, shows you remember what they told you and you care.
And Ben, let's quickly talk about giving and receiving compliments on dates. This is another area where cultural differences really show up.
Absolutely. When someone compliments you in American culture, just say thank you with a smile. Don't deflect with, oh no, I'm not, or this old thing. It makes the compliment giver feel awkward and undermines your own confidence.
And when giving compliments, be specific rather than generic. Instead of, you're pretty, try, I love how your eyes light up when you talk about your art. Or, your laugh is really contagious. It shows you're paying attention.
Perfect advice. All right, English learners, remember, authentic connection beats perfect grammar every time. Be curious, be genuine, and most importantly, be yourself.
Absolutely. And don't forget to subscribe for more practical English conversation tips. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like and subscribe. Feel free to leave comments about the Chatcast, including topics that you'd like us to have conversations about in future episodes. Until next time, keep practicing, keep listening, and remember, learning English with us is
A piece of cake. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time on the English Chatcast.